I don't know if I ever told you guys, but I love Namco. They've been able to change the way we think about games across several decades, and could match Nintendo in terms of quality games and memorable franchises. But during their golden age, you might have not known a few things about them. Like for example, Super Pac-Man was the only other Pac-Man game developed by them, but that wasn't the only game they made back then, obviously. They made the Great Galaga series, as well as the classic Pole Position and Dig Dug, but some of their games never left their place of origin. And one of those games that caught my attention was Phozon. Phozon for the arcades. Well, we're playing it on the PS1 because that's the best we got it in the States.
It's the early 80s. The arcade scene was as popular as it would ever be, with people flocking to see the newest games, the latest in gaming technology, or to rack up a high score. One of the most prominent arcade makers of the day, and arguably the most successful, was Namco. The first big N of video games was responsible for spreading Pac-Man fever worldwide, as well as a bunch of other classic titles that they would license out to a few US companies for distribution. But back in Japan, they had some other games in their catalog that never saw the light of day in the States. Some you might know, and others you don't, like this one. Phozon.
The game was initially released on August 20th, 1983, and it was received favorably in its native land of Japan. You would have thought that would equate to a North American release, but it ultimately didn't, which surprised me, as when I played it on Namco Museum Volume 3, I thought it was fun and interesting. Yeah, well, you think Mario Sunshine is the shits. That I do. A piece of shit. Anyway, I think this is a game worth showcasing, so that's what we're gonna do now. And just a heads up, don't be surprised if this video ends up shorter than the previous episode so far in this season, as this is an arcade game we're looking at, so let's take a better look at Phozon. Now usually you have to put in a quarter or token to play the arcade game, but I am playing it on the PS1. Still, I brought all these tokens for the occasion. Guess I can still put them to good use.
So, I hope you like chemistry, cause that's the vibe this game is going for. You control this black and red atom known as the Chemic, and have to build the shape presented in the middle of the screen by connecting yourself to Molex, which are these free-roaming organisms of 4 different colors, all the while avoiding this 3D-looking spherical enemy known as the Atomic.
Atomic balls. That's my sole ball joke of the day, or is it?
When you complete the pattern, you'll move on to the next part of the world with some bonus points. Each world consists of 3 patterns to build upon, and when you start a new round, you can attack the Atomic. Well, that's one way to introduce what is essentially the star power from Mario, and we'll talk about it more in a bit. Points are awarded whenever you connect a Molek to your pattern. If you connect the same colored Molek together, your points will multiply, but sometimes you might have a Molek attached that isn't in the right place, so you'll have to press the reject button to get it off you.
I wish I had a button to reject the haters. Oh wait, I do. Alright, enough of that crap.
When you get through 3 rounds of a world, you'll go to a challenging stage, and it was something that I certainly didn't expect. It suddenly becomes a vertical shooter, where you shoot all the balls off the Atomic with I don't know, Doritos?
A ball's greatest weakness, a Disney invention.
If you shoot the 4 atomics that appear in all its ball segments, you'll get a perfect bonus. Miss one and you'll still get a bonus for whatever many you shot. At the beginning of the next world, you'll be introduced to the power Molochs, which are larger than regular Molochs and when connected grant you temporary invincibility for you to go and attack the atomic if you want, but I would suggest saving them for strategical use if you can. As you progress in the worlds, the patterns will get tougher and the atomic will as well, beginning to warn you when it will split apart in its efforts to take you down. Oh, and it can also shoot rays that can dissolve your Molochs off that you've already attached, which is a pain in the ass, and even one of the balls can explode to make it more of a challenge to avoid. No doubt the game gets a bit difficult in a hurry, and that's not counting the timer on the bottom that was there the whole time, though I'm not entirely sure if it is a timer or something that involves how many Molochs you have to create the pattern in a stage, because when you reject several Molochs at a time, the timer will go up, but regardless if it does expire, you won't lose a life, but you'll have to try and get through the puzzle again, kinda like what other puzzle games would do later.
Japan has been very forgiving to us Americans ever since the atomic bombs.
But if any part of the atomic touches you, you'll lose a life. You can get at least 2 additional lives if you hit any of these point marks indicated by the game, and if you lose all your lives, it's game over.
And that's pretty much it. That's the whole game. What? I told you this wasn't going to take long. It's an arcade game, and a simple one at that.
I honestly expect nothing less from Namco. They made the maze, racing, and vertical shooters simple and fun, and this puzzle game on chemistry does the same. I think Phozon is an interesting experience anyone should try. It might be a little slow, but it has a lot that I find enjoyable. Hell, its concept isn't too out of the blue, as Atari had a game on the science of quantum physics, and the atomic reminds me of the kicks from the game of the same name. So it has a lot going for it. That and Doritos.
Just wait. I'll get the sponsorship in no time. I mean, sure, it has some tunes and bytes that are fine for what they are, but with no composer credited, there isn't anything more I can say about it. Next!
I was contemplating whether or not to skip this section as there wouldn't be much else to show, but since we're playing it on the PS1 via Namco Museum Volume 3, I think there's a few things worth noting. In the museum section, you can look at some promotional material of the game in great detail. This would have been stuff you would have seen when the game was new, and we can see how the game would have looked like in arcade form. Slightly. You can also look up how to play, as well as going into this room where... well, why don't you see for yourself?
This is how my arcade hotel would be themed.
What's with the polygon peeps up there? I sure as hell don't know, but me and Pac-Man are getting down with the beat. Additionally, you can adjust a few things as you would if it were the real arcade game, like switching its orientation to the classic vertical setting, change the position of the screen, or add a picture to the sidebar so it's not just a black void, and you can also reset the game.
Hey guys, I got a kill screen. You saw it first. I was the first to do it. I'm gonna go to Japan now and get my award. I'll see you when I get back.
Further information on Phozon is scarce. I couldn't find how many machines were made or how much yen it made for Namco, but Japanese magazine Game Machine said it was the second most popular arcade game in their December 15, 1983 issue, so it must have done well to some degree. Still, it wasn't enough to make its way to the arcades in the States, at least not without lack of trying. It was demonstrated at a few shows in October of '83, but no company decided to pick up the license, and I bet the video game crash might have played a factor. The game would have to wait another 14 years before finally getting out of Japan in Volume 3 of Namco Museum on PS1, which has been the version I've been showing you. It was also released as part of the Namco Arcade mobile app in 2012, but that was discontinued in 2016, leaving Phozon primarily a forgotten game, unfortunately.
I got my award, but I'm sure you guys want to know. What is my rate to play? There are plenty of games that are left in Japan for many different reasons, whether if the company doesn't think it would do well elsewhere, or it'd be too much of a hassle to ship it over to other regions. That doesn't fall in line as to why Phozon didn't make it, though if it did, I'm sure it would have done fine.
It has all the elements that makes a good arcade game. A simple premise that can get more challenging as you go, but it isn't unfair, and it has easy to learn mechanics that most could pick up and play. But I'll admit it isn't a perfect game, it's a little slow to my liking, and the sound effect for the bonus points is irritating, but I still had a fun time with this game, and I think you would too. The best thing for you to do now is to seek it out in whatever way that works for you. It may be on emulator, but I'd like for someone to find the American demo that was shown off here. And hey, if you do play it, let me know what scores you got. I BTB'd the entire scoreboard and was awarded the best video game player of the chemistry. What can you do?
To conclude, I give Phozon a play rate of... must play.
But that's only my opinion. If you have your own thoughts, leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others could enjoy this, share it around the web. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Anyway, this has been BrianTheBlue Game Reviews, Phozon. I wish I could play the arcade version. Brian here, want to quickly say thanks for watching this game review, as this and other content wouldn't be possible without you. I appreciate anyone and everyone who watches my videos from all across the world, but it alarms me that over 80% of viewers aren't subscribed to the channel. So I'd like to reiterate and ask you to subscribe as well as ringing the bell to stay notified. That way you can stay up to date with future content that'll appear on the Jacobians channel. Presently I put out new quick views and current calamities every month, and my brother Alex has a brand new show all about wrestling games called WrestleBound. You might want to stick around as we're only getting started. You can also find me on a couple of other channels. I run the Starfighters Arcade channel, where we take a look at the history of our machines on the floor as well as show you our new arrivals, and on Millennial X, where me, arcade buddies, and family get into shenanigans playing, hunting, and reviewing games. If you want to explore more content, these would be the first places to go. That's all the time I got, but be sure to click the icon now if you want to watch the previous or upcoming episodes of Game Reviews.
I wonder what my atoms are like.